The doctor said the car crash would be the hardest fight of my life. They were wrong. Waking up to an empty finger was the real injury. My parents told me my beautiful $18,000 engagement ring was lost in the chaos. It was a lie. They sold it. Not for my medical bills, but to fund my brother's dream 21st birthday party. That's when I knew my recovery needed a new goal, revenge. The beeping of the heart monitor was my world's soundtrack. I remember the haze of painkillers, the blur of white coats, and the moment I first lifted my heavily bandaged hand. The weight was gone. The diamond my fiancé Liam had saved 3 years for was just gone. My mother, clutching my good hand, wept. Oh, sweetheart, it must have been lost at the scene. We looked everywhere. My father couldn't meet my eyes, muttering about material things not mattering while I was alive. I believed them, why wouldn't I? Weeks later, home and confined to a couch, I scrolled through my brother Kyle's social media. My heart stopped. There was the video from his party, a lavish, tropical-themed bash at a rented venue, a professional DJ, a ice sculpture. The caption read, "Shout out to the Rents for the epic 21st. Best parents ever, #blessed, no expense spared." The camera panned to my brother, raising a bottle of Dom Perignon. And on my mother's hand, as she clinked her glass with his, was a brand new, very expensive-looking tennis bracelet. A cold, sharp clarity cut through my pain. They didn't just lose my ring. They traded it for a night of glory. The rage was a physical thing, a fire that burned away the last of my helplessness. I started quietly. I called the hospitals lost and found, filing a formal report. Nothing. I called the police precinct that handled my accident, asking if any jewelry was logged into evidence. The officer was kind but firm. No ring was ever found out. My parents grew nervous. "Ava, you need to let this go," my father said, his voice tight. "It's not healthy. Liam can always buy you another one." That comment alone deserved its own form of punishment. Liam was devastated but pragmatic. He had the original GIA certification and appraisal. We reported it to our insurance company. The investigator, a stern woman named Miss Gable, was our turning point. She asked for a list of anyone who knew about the ring. I gave her everything, and then I played my hunch. Check the pawn shops and private jewelers near my parents' neighborhood. And there's a specific jeweler, Finch & Sons, my mother always admired. A week later, Miss Gable called. "We have a hit. Finch & Sons purchased a ring matching your description 2 days after your accident. The seller was a David Miller." My father's name. I asked her to email me the documentation. When it arrived, I felt a fresh wave of nausea. There was a scan of the receipt, my father's signature. And the price. They sold my future, my symbol of love, for $12,000, a $6,000 loss for a party and a bracelet. I didn't confront them, not yet. Instead, I started recording every conversation. I asked my mother sweetly about her new bracelet. "Oh, this old thing? Your father surprised me after Kyle's party. He got a bonus at work." I asked my brother, Kyle, if he'd thanked Mom and Dad properly for the party. "Yeah, they finally came through for me. Must have robbed a bank, lol. I had their lies on tape and their own voices. The insurance company cut me a check for the full $18,000, but my parents didn't know that. The real payment I wanted wasn't from the insurance. It was from them. I waited for family dinner, the sacred Sunday tradition where we all pretended to be functional. I wore a simple black dress. Liam sat beside me, a solid, silent pillar of support. My knee bounced under the table. The meal was a masterpiece of my mother's cooking. As we finished dessert, I placed my phone on the table, recording. "Ava, you're looking so much stronger," my mother beamed, oblivious. "I am, Mom. Thanks. It's amazing what a clear goal can do for your recovery." My father nodded, chewing his pie. Good. What's the goal?" "Getting back what's mine," I said, my voice calm. The table went quiet. My mother's smile faltered. "Ava, not the ring again." "Oh, but it is about the ring." I looked at my brother. "Kyle, how much do you think Mom and Dad spent on your party?" He shrugged, smug. "I don't know, 10, 15 grand? It was legit." 12, to be exact, I said. All eyes snapped to me. $12,000. The exact amount they got for pawning my engagement ring at Finch & Sons. The color drained from my father's face. "That's a lie." I tapped my phone and played the audio from the insurance investigator. "Purchased a ring matching your description." Seller was a David Miller. My mother gasped, her hand flying to her bracelet. You sold IT? Liam's voice was a low thunder, finally breaking his silence. You told us it was lost. You let her cry. You let me feel like I failed to protect it. You were in the hospital. It was an object, my father roared, standing up. It was mine. I slammed my good hand on the table, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. You didn't just sell a ring, you sold my trust. You sold our relationship. You sold your daughter's happiness for a weekend of bragging rights for your golden child. I played the second recording, my mother calling the bracelet an old thing and my father getting a bonus. The dam broke. My parents started yelling over each other excuses about being stressed about medical bills. A lie, my insurance had covered it. About how Kyle needed the confidence boost. And what did I need, Mom? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. I needed to wake up and see the man I love's promise on my finger. I needed to know my family was in my corner. Kyle just stared, his mouth agape. Finally realizing the source of his epic party, I stood up, leaning heavily on the table. The insurance paid me out. So here's what's going to happen. You have 30 days to pay back every penny of that $18,000 to Liam and me. Not the paltry $12,000 you got for it. The full appraised value. That's extortion. My father spat. No, it's restitution. And if I don't have the money in 30 days, I will file a civil lawsuit for theft and emotional distress. I have all the evidence. And I will post every recording, every document online for all your friends to see. Let them know what kind of people you really are. I looked at my brother. Enjoy the party, Kyle. It cost you your sister. Liam and I walked out, leaving them in the ruins of their deceit. They paid. It wasn't out of remorse, but out of sheer terror of public exposure. The bank transfer arrived on the 29th day. We didn't speak. The money was cold comfort, but it was a principle upheld. Liam and I used part of it as a down payment on a house far away from my hometown. We didn't send a change of address. The rest we invested, a solid foundation for a future built on trust, not betrayal. A year later, on the anniversary of the accident, I received a long email from my brother, Kyle. It was the first time he'd ever apologized for anything. He wrote that the guilt had eaten at him, that he'd been blind to my parents' favoritism, and that losing me had been a wake-up call. He was in therapy trying to unlearn the entitlement they'd bred in him. I read it, felt a pang of the sister I used to be, and then archived it. Some bridges, once burned, cannot be rebuilt. My parents never reached out. I heard through the grapevine that their social standing had taken a hit. The truth, as it often does, had trickled out. They were now the couple who stole from their injured daughter. I never bought another diamond. Instead, Liam and I picked out matching, simple platinum bands when we got married in a small, beautiful ceremony by the sea. Our vows were about partnership and honesty. The funny thing about profound betrayal is that it forces you to rebuild yourself from the ground up. The person I was before the crush, the people-pleasing daughter who craved validation, died in that hospital bed. The woman who walked out was harder, wiser, and fiercely protective of her own peace. I started a blog, anonymously at first, about setting boundaries with toxic family. It resonated with thousands. My story of the ring became a parable about knowing your own worth when others don't. It led to a career I never expected, helping others untangle themselves from emotional manipulation. Today my life is full of chosen. Family friends who show up, a husband who is my true partner, and a quiet, unshakable knowledge that I am enough. The ghost of the ring doesn't haunt me anymore. It was the price I paid, not for a party, but for my freedom. And in the end, was a bargain.